Okay, so we're going to continue here. We're going to look at legal math. I call it, there's going to be preference schedules and voting methods, but some other stuff that goes on. The other one I wanted to just cut off where we had at the end of apportionment. But jury trials versus what they call a bench trial. A jury trial is when you get a jury of your peers, often up to 12 of your peers, to be screened and hear your case, both sides. Then the jury will come to what we would hope will be a unanimous decision as to whether you are guilty or, and they don't call it innocent, they call it not guilty. Guilty means there was enough evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to those 12 people that all of them said, yes, this person's guilty. And then the other is not guilty, where the 12 agree there's not enough evidence to convict the person. There's no decision that you are found innocent. It's found not guilty. If you don't go to a jury trial, you can go to a bench trial. And this is quicker because they don't have to find the jury and they don't have to get 12 people's decisions. A bench trial is where the judge is sitting on the bench, the judge will run the show, and the judge will make the final decision. Why do people select jury trials? A lot of reasons. It can be risky, it can be beneficial, but are you better off with a judge or are you better off with a jury of your peers? Can you get a jury of your peers? These are all issues about jury trial, bench trial. I wanted to quickly talk about amendments. It's still part of legal math as in the federal government. Amending the Constitution. Whenever we want to change the Constitution, we need a 2/3 majority, which is 67. 2/3 is going to have to exceed 66 and 2/3. We need 67 people to come out of the Senate or more to get this voted through, and then 2/3 of the people in the House also. And then approval individually by 3/4 of the states. So we'd have to go for 3/4 of ours, which would be 38 states. The ERA, Equal Rights Amendment, is still kicking around. I mean, a lot of things have expired and all that, but they're talking about how close it came. You can still find information about that. That was back in the 70s, early 80s. The most recent amendment to the Constitution was Amendment number 27. Okay, the first 10 were the Bill of Rights, and then we've had 17 since then. And it stated that Congress should only make laws affecting their own salaries if they were to take effect in the next session. In other words, once people get elected out of office in November, they can't rush back to Congress and say, we deserve a raise, I agree, and give themselves a raise and make more money before they leave. All the votes that talk about raising their salary have to take effect in the next session so that the people that lost are not going to benefit from votes that they took while they were in that session. This was enacted in 1992, so we have not changed the Constitution since then. I found it interesting, the date that it was first proposed, that what became Constitutional Amendment number 27, the date it was first proposed was 1789. So yeah, it took more than 200 years, and it came in 2 years after the Constitution was drawn up and ratified. Okay, I want to now look at something called preference schedules. Okay, we'll look at voting methods, the way that the outcome of an election is determined by how the votes are counted. This doesn't require people to cheat. It does require people to do math, and it's smart for people to know how the votes are going to be counted before they get out there and do their work to try and get elected. So it's all legal, but you have to decide how we're going to do it. In other words, you can't say, oh, that was a great job. It does look like you won playing checkers, but I'm sorry, we were actually playing chess. You can't do that. You got to know the rules going in. The rules must be established before the election takes place, and then you got to live with the rules you made ahead of time. So with that in mind, I can explain to you the 3 types of election strategies we're going to look at for preference schedules that we'll look at in this class. So preference schedules require you to do what's called ranked choice voting. You have to rank your first choice, second choice, third choice, and they all have to be different. And it's asked of you to list all the candidates from top to bottom, not to leave any blanks at the bottom, although you have that option. Preference schedules require you to rank candidates. From best to worst, or from most favorable to least favorable. This leads to some cool stuff that happened in Vermont recently, and even more so out in California recently, because they had more than 2 candidates. They made them put them in ranked choice order, and then a couple people said, look, I know you're not going to vote for me first, but can you put me second? And that became a big issue, and you'll see why when we look at what ranked choice voting actually looks like. All permutations of votes that come in are assigned a column. Imagine if you have 4, 5, 6 candidates, you can have a lot of columns. The way you can put those in order, right? If you have 5 candidates, that's 5 factorial. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2. There's 120 possible ways they can put those in order. And if all of them come when you have, a few million people voting, you're gonna have 120 different columns there. Maybe some of those possibilities never got called on. You can drop those out. But if somebody, at least one, did go in, then you're gonna have those. At the top of each column is the total count of those submitted. So that will be a number of how many of those came in. Then below that, you will list them, and the order counts. It is not a combination. All the combinations are the same. If you got 5 people, you got 5 names. The permutations have to have them in order. So let's look at what we might have here. We might have 30 of these, and 5 of these, 20 of these, and 5 of these, and 10 of these, and 30 of these. And here's how they came in. Okay, we got first place, second, and third choice for each person. So I guess this doesn't need that. Okay. And this was ABC. This was ACB. Those are the ones won by A. Then we have BAC, BCA, CAB, and CBA. There were only 3 candidates in this race. You don't need it if you have 2 candidates. If you have 2 candidates, when you vote for one, the other is second place. You don't need this. But if you have anything more than 2 candidates, this becomes a possibility. This is a full set of 100. We'll say we had 100 people who voted, and we can tell 30, 35, 55, 60, 70, 100. 100 total votes. So I made up these numbers, of course, but they're going to get the job done of showing you how the values can come out. All right, then the tabulation begins. I'm going to pull this in. And you can freeze the tape or you can stop it, whatever you want to do at a time to see what's going on. But I'm going to read to you each one, then I'm going to go back and put them in play to get answers for what's happening here. So here we go. 3 methods that we are concerned with. There are others. We're going to look at 3. One is the plurality method. You know the plurality is the person who has the most first place votes. We have 3 candidates, so there may not be a majority over 50. But someone's going to have the most votes in all likelihood, though that may not happen. What you're going to do is count up first place votes. That's all that counts. And the winner is the person who gets the most first place votes. And if you're going to do that and only do that, then you don't need this whole thing. You don't need people filling out their ballots with them in order. But you could have them do that, because what that may cause is if you have a tie, for example, in the plurality, they don't have to come back and vote again because you have their other choices. They're stuck with their choices the way they made them, but they're there in, submitted already, ready to be counted in another way. So the plurality. If you get one person with the most first place votes, you got a plurality winner. Number 2, the board account. The board account is based on position, a point total. Last place, which would be getting third in this, gets 1. Remember when we did the true-false tables and we started in the last column and we made that TF, 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 and then the next one was 2 at a time, then 4 at a time. If you start with the last column, you work your way up till you're full, you will always get exactly what you need. So in this case, there's going to be 1 point for third place, 2 points for second, and 3 points for first. And then we're going to go back through and we're going to get the total for each person of all the points they got on all the ballots, and whoever has the most points is the winner. And then plurality with elimination. Plurality with elimination, you'll probably see in the homework version of this. So in 17, the last homework from 17, you'll see me go through a homework, a plurality with elimination that has 4. And when you have 4, you can really watch how things swing based on where people were ranked when they weren't put first. And to me, it's interesting, and we'll see. But what happens is you go through, and the first round, you don't look for who has the most, you look for who has the least first place votes. And you scratch them off the board. And whoever has the least is going to lose some spots where they had the first place vote. And what I call that is sliding them up. Because then when they're taking off their first place votes, whoever was listed second on those ballots takes over those votes. So the votes slide over to other people because of the way people rank them. So if your candidate, your choice for first place is immediately eliminated, your second place vote goes into play. And you keep doing that until there's one candidate left. So we'll look at how this happens. We're going to do the first one. I'll leave that there. You can see it. We still have room for it. But we'll go with this. This is plurality. A, 30 and 5. 35. B, 20 and 5. 25. C, 10 and 30. Nobody got 50%, but C wins. 40% of the first place votes beats the 25, beats the 35, you have that winner. Board account. I think I have enough room to do this. What we're going to do is the board of points are going to be 1 point for last place, 2 points for middle place, and 3 points for first, and these are board of points. Because you should get more points for doing well. So you want to get a high score, and here's what we're going to do. A gets 3 times 30, plus A gets 3 times 5, plus A gets 2 times 20, plus A gets 1 times 5, plus A gets 2 times 10, plus A gets 1 times 30. Let's see what those make. 90, 15, 40, 5, 20, and 30. So we got 90, 105, 145, 150, 170, 200. That's A. B. Okay, 2 points 30 times. 2 times 30 plus B 1 point 5 times plus B 3 points 20 times plus B 3 points 5 times plus B 1 point 10 times plus B 2 points 30 times. And we now have 60 and 5 and 60 and 15 and 10 and 60. 60, 65, 125, 140, 150, 210. And now C. 1 point 30 times 3 points. Nope. And for C, C gets 2 points 5 times, plus C gets 1 point 20 times, C gets 2 points 5 times, C gets 3 points 10 times, and C gets 3 points 30 times. And now we'll see what that makes. 30, 10, 20. 10, 30, 90. So we got 30, 40, 60, 70, 190. The highest point total goes here. B wins. And that's Borda. And the reasons for that are hopefully the reason B won without having the most first place votes is B had a lot of strong support for second place and didn't finish third very much. B finished last only on 15 ballots. B finished first on 25, but B had 60 second place votes, and that as a total brought B in with the win. And now I'm going to do a brief one here. We're looking at what's there, and here's what happens. We had originally A was 35 and B was 25 and C was 40, but that's not all. B gets eliminated, so you eliminate B. And so this doesn't matter, this doesn't matter, these two do matter. This doesn't matter, this doesn't matter, because on the ones that I said they don't matter, A is still the top or C is still the top. These two do matter. These 20 that used to go to B are going to A. So we go to A and we give them 20 more. That's now 55. And we go to this one where B got eliminated and we have 5 more to give to C. 45. So now we're looking at A equals 55 and C equals 45. Now you might say, okay, it's over. A wins, and that's true. But if you do go all the way through to closure, what you're going to do is take out all of C's, so C is eliminated, and the only place for them to go is to A, who will have all 100 votes eventually. Because when you take out C, so we'll say that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, but this does, and this does, and this does, and that's going to get you 45. They all go to A. Anything that's not tagged in red is still a vote for A, and now you'll see why in this case A wins. Nobody cheated. The exact same votes went in. We got 3 different winners because of that. If you want to see what I think to be interesting, take a look at the homework one and see if we actually go through one that has 4 people in elimination. Then that can really swing. Okay, that's good on that.